Oh wait, this is actually pretty loud. Or it's going to be anyway. This is supposed to be pretty quiet title screen music. I kind of forgot. Let's see if I actually successfully changed my ticker info on Twitch. Hey, I did. So, things might be misleading. This isn't actually an entirely solo run, etc., etc. Legalese, yada yada yada. There was no legalese in there. Still pulling up chats. Always some initial setup to be done here. Troubleshooting on the fly, too, is just part of the deal. I don't want the opening cinematic stuff to happen. So, I started in on this just a little bit earlier. You might remember it. I sure do. Why did I name the town Corona? Why? I'm actually gonna go with a different character. I don't feel like playing a Uke. Well, I'm having difficulty deciding between Uke and Selkie, actually. Selkie has the sick backflip and cool charge attack stuff, but Uke's got really good magic casting. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up running 2 characters. Oh, that'd be a nightmare. Yeah, maybe screw that. Just go Uke. It'll be fine. It'll be a rough start, but everything will get better once I end up finding the rings that'll allow me to cast magic whenever I want.
They say that wicked creatures prowl the road along this beautiful riverbank, but nobody's ever seen one. I once asked a man why. He simply replied, because anybody who happens upon one is promptly eaten. But it is long since anyone has met such a fate. For nowadays, people take another route, far away from the spooky old road. Only we walk the old way now, travelers in crystal caravans.
These intros to levels are so good. So, confession time. It legit took me like hours to figure out how to do most of these levels. I was exploring Riverbill Path for like... I don't even frickin' know how long. Also, holy shit, that is a fuzzy Uke arm. Alright, I still remember how to play this game. It's still a little framey, still a little chuggy. That's just how Crystal Chronicles works. Ukes are pretty weak with very limited attack combo at the start. Doesn't really get a lot better, but Ukes get great magic, and that's kind of where this thing takes off. I feel like fire should be slot 3, but I'll change that when it actually starts to matter. Oh, I missed. So Kira is kind of an overpowered magicite in this game. No matter how much health you have, it just sorta... bloop. Max health. There's some points in the game where you're taking so much damage that, like, you're real damn glad it works that way. We're not gonna be there for a very long time. Uh-oh. He does like a full heart of damage. A little thing about status effects. Fire reduces defense for the duration and I think speeds them up. So if I were to swing my hammer against a dude that's on fire, it'd do more damage. A lot of status effects kind of work that way in this game. Yet they managed to make them unique enough. Wait, why am I doing a charge attack? Charge attacks kind of suck as Yuke. Like, very few of the enemies in this level are actually weak to thunder, so I won't showcase that much yet. There are only 3 base magics, so... Oof, that dodge. By, you know, just their normal movement. We'll be very well acquainted with the 3 magics through this playthrough. Of course, I'm not attempting to do it all in one sitting, that would be madness. I'm just in it for a couple hours or so. Possibly less than that, depending on when my brother decides, oh, I want to go to sleep, or, oh, I'm sick of hearing noises from upstairs. So I'm gonna pretend to sleep. Yo, Mog. Mog, please. You can do this. You whiny brat. Got him. So as mentioned previously in the last stream I did of this, there's a bit of a premise where outside of this magic circle is a poisonous fog that will choke you out slowly. Crystals are the only way to beat that back. The fuck you trying to combine thunder with cure for, Mog? Those two don't mix. And I am the sole dude on the caravan to basically try and restore our town's crystal. To do so, we require myrrh from these trees that are at the end of each level. 3 per year. 3 droplets, that is. Ooh. 2 gear things. Or 2 blizzard things, I mean. What was I saying? Right. Without that whole myrrh from myrrh trees thing imbued in the crystal chalice, the crystal in town loses its potency and the miasma will end up seeping into the town. You know, just choking out everybody there. Moogles and other monsters are immune to the miasma. They thrive under it. They're fine with it. They're A-okay. I'm surprised Mog hasn't complained about having to carry the chalice yet. Ooh, I had hoped that would not bleed in on Mike. At this point, I'm pretty sure I have the Rona, but I'll be fine. It's just like a couple weeks or whatever of fevery symptoms. Every boss has an intro cinematic, some are more boring than others, but this one's pretty alright. It's a giant enemy crab. Before the giant enemy crab thing. Ow. Okay, this is actually pretty loud. I'm gonna turn it down. kind of have a little bit of a problem with high contrast audio games. It's kind of a recent nitpick of mine. Also, yeah, spell fusion is a thing in this game. To get the higher level of the spell, you fuse 2 of the Magicite in your command list. This particular boss is weak to Blizzard, so I'm doing bonus damage just for using ice. I'm not sure if I do more damage to the entity if they're on the edge of it than if they're in the center of it. I think that might actually be the case. He's trying to use Thundara on me. Well, that was first boss. There aren't going to be a whole lot of difficulties in this run simply because I'm experienced. I played this game a lot in my childhood. As I said before Mother 3, this was my favorite game. There's just this quaint loveliness about the environment and the way they did the music. It has influenced me super hard. Okay, so goofily enough, I have the Twitch pop-out chat bookmarked in Chrome. Adblock Plus has detected like 15 pop-ups that it's tried to create. What the hell? I kinda wish you could more easily see what's being blocked by Adblock Plus and other such things. Though I imagine some others have created better GUI tools for them, or just written better GUIs for them. I'm fine! Roland is the, basically the mayor of the village. The mayor of Corona. You might already be able to see where this game is a bit advantageous with multiple players. Add support for up to 4-player couch co-op. Wow. This really doesn't work in widescreen as well. These items are supposed to be in the middle of these elements. Well, the pocket is by far the best thing available here. To explain that, every level you get like a bonus condition. I think in part to sell more of the Game Boy Advance connectors and Game Boy Advances. Since this game had support for that, it was like one of maybe 4 or 5 GameCube games that did. It's actually required for the multiplayer. Single player, you can't see what your special condition is that you score against without plugging in a Game Boy Advance and doing all that jazz. Oh yeah, the Black Knight. That's all he wanted to say. What a guy. But yeah, that score determines what order people pick out of that item pool of 8 things at the very end of a level. I forget what the miasma stream's element is. I'll explain more on this in a sec. God, I am all over the place. Yeah, the score also determines what pool of items you get to choose from. Specifically the 4 items that start it. The other 4 are comprised of the artifacts you found, those motherfucking thieves, throughout the level. Like, for example, 2 of the items in that selection were... They did all that to steal 1 cob of corn. What was I saying? Right. Still all over the place. This has not helped me in terms of, like, figuring out where I am in this conversation. My mind is just dead right now. I don't want to buy your shit. Oh, never mind, they're here to talk philosophy. Man, all Clavats look the same. Though I really did love the sort of aesthetic and just the way everything looks in this game. It's got this cutesy sort of serious-y... I don't know. It just really appealed to me as a teenager, and I really like it now. Right. I was explaining a few things before I proceed. Yeah. So there are up to 4 artifacts you can find in a level. Those will appear on the end screen, and you get to claim 1 to keep by the end. The rest you just throw away. That's how that system works. 4 will be dropped by the boss, but will depend on your overall score at the end. So miasma streams. They're the place where the miasma is the heaviest. To the point where, like, there are these ferocious winds that normally obstruct your travel. If your chalice matches the element in the middle that the miasma stream is of, you get to proceed. If it's not, you get pushed back. We'll see some of that way later in the run, most likely. Also, a minor point of interest. The crash that's supposed to happen in the 4th level of this game. The 4th very mandatory level of this game. It was supposedly secretly resolved, maybe? If you disable panic handlers, supposedly, it's totally fine.
When I was a child, I once asked my mother, "Where did I come from?" She answered, "Why, we all sprouted from the mushroom forest, of course."
That's a fucking lie, Mom.
Nightmares soon haunted my sleep. I dreamt that I was lost among the toadstools. I awoke in tears, but felt the warmth of my mother's embrace as she comforted me. It is something I still remember to this day.
We never do find who writes these things. I still have no idea what they're supposed to be. Maybe like a previous caravan that failed? But considering they've been to every level, possibly. Allegedly. Maybe they got far. Cure early. I always dig that. Things have really slow attack speed this early in the game. I'm dodging stuff effortlessly. Yeah, you know what? No, let's not make slow. Let's make holy. Menuing is a little 2000s clunk in this game, but that's okay. I've seldom used holy as an attack magic outside of just revealing ghosts. Ghosts are a bit of an annoying enemy. I'll explain when we get to them. They share similar properties as flying enemies, which, they are a giant annoyance for... Oh hey, speak of the devil. For Fizz and magic users alike, assuming that magic users haven't yet gotten two different types of attack magic. So, fusing two different types of attack magic makes gravity. I'm not sure about its damage output, but I guess we'll see. The important thing is that it grounds these dudes, which stuns them and allows them to take full damage. Or makes them take full damage, I should say. Gravity feels like it has a very tiny hitbox. Pliss. I'm getting smacked up by an imp. Okay, yeah, gravity is not doing much damage compared to holy. So I'm gonna split these. I think imps are weak to blizzard? That was damage, so it's too early to tell. Spell fusion in multiplayer is a lot more cumbersome, but in my opinion, genuinely more interesting. You have to, like, bring two of these spell circles together and then both release them within a certain period of each other. Depending on your timing, you might get different spells. Or you might get stronger versions of a spell. For example, two blizzard circles brought together will give you either Blizzara or Blizzaga. If you both release at the same time, it will be Blizzara, which is the tier 2 version of the spell. But if you release at different times, like a second apart, it will turn into Blizzaga, which is the tier 3 and really big nuke version of the spell. Oh. He's not dead. What is that attack? I almost never see that attack. Fire is kind of big here. Almost everything in this forest is weak to fire. Including the boss. Well, I just split this, but I need gravity already. I suppose the smart thing to do if I were to try and do this fast is... Also slow, please. If I were trying to do this fast is just unequip cure. Just have fire and gravity in my command list. But I'm not going for that right now. I don't mind a little additional menuing here and there. When they're gravitied, flyers go down super fast. You know, I kind of want to try something stupid. I'm gonna do a little bit of, something a little close to what I said. I believe I have 2 Thunder Magicite, which in Blah, 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 blah. In multiplayer, getting the two of the same magicite is basically useless. But in single player, you can combine within your own command list. Bit of a necessity, honestly. Ooh. Thundara can stun plants. Tier 2 magic seems to be really strong. Compared to like super effective Tier 1 magic, for example. Unless it's gravity. Gravity just kind of sucks against other things, it seems like, that aren't flyers. Rather, its status effect is what you want it for, not its actual damage. So in terms of artifacts, their color dictates what stats they give. Green is always going to be a defense artifact, where orange is always going to be an attack artifact, and purple is always going to be a magic artifact. Of course, being a Uke, we want to stockpile on all the magic artifacts we can get, but also we want to... what am I trying to say? We want to get all the pockets we can get, too. Pockets are big. Unfortunately, you can only have one of every artifact, common balancing. One of each, I should say. Towards, at the very end of a level. That point in which you can pick a single item to take home with you, you can't pick up something you've already had. So I will not be able to keep this additional pocket at the end of the level. Let's try Blizzara, see how that does here. Imps just fall flat to every tier 2 magic. That's pretty good. Sleaze pots are pretty neat, but they almost never see use due to, well, they're not very good. But they're cool in concept. On the blue ones, if you use ice magic or thunder magic, you create a little trap that deals ice damage and stuns things that are weak to ice. Similarly, this oil vat, if you cast fire on it, you create a fire trap. This section is kind of your introduction to them of sorts. You're able to use them kind of practically against these plants. And it's boss time. And also stutter time. I just realized the road in this place, the pathway you walk on, is just all mushrooms. Imagine how fucking slippery that would be. Also, like, you hear of people treading through like a foot of snow. What if you were treading through a foot of mushrooms? That'd be kind of fucked. So I kind of want to take out the ads first. Kind of sucks to have flowers aiming at you while you're trying to damage the boss. Oh, I missed. Boss takes a lot of damage from fire. That's an example of a tier 3 spell. They have a lot of goddamn range. That's Sloga. Tier 3 status effect moves also have a much higher likelihood of inflicting that status effect upon whatever mob you're trying to use it on. Players, however, are weak to, or are vulnerable to tier 1 of every single status effect in the game. So if I weren't dodging everything this boss was throwing at me, I would be getting hit with quite a few status effects here. Like, that's a toxin breath. He's just sort of spamming it. Bosses and enemies like to get stuck in loops in this game. If you just do the same action over and over again, you can pretty easily get them into just stuck. Stuck often doing things that are easy to dodge. This game got a very lukewarm reception. Understandably so. I mean, it's a very pretty game, but it's so different from the rest of Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy didn't have many spin-offs at the time. I don't know if they had Tactics out yet, but I don't believe Tactics did so well either. Spin-offs in general, they had to be done really, really right in alignment with the kind of original game. The franchise, I mean. Or they did poorly at the time. Crystal Chronicles is a good example of this. You've got something that can loosely be defined as an action RPG. I say loosely because all the numbers are hidden, for the most part. In this just giant slew of Japanese RPGs. It really didn't help that in order to play the multiplayer, which was sort of the big thing for this game, it has kind of a not so great solo game. I'm doing really well. I'm enjoying this, but that's because I already have my expectations set. I know what's going to happen. I know what waits for me. But I'm also just kind of having fun doing this. What was I saying? Right. Big disappointment to the people that actually, like, bought it, got GameCube just for it. Because this was a GameCube-only game as well. What did this letter say? Okay. Yeah, this one's from my family, so I actually want to send something back. Like this vegetable seed. Seeds, you can send them home and they will grow the fruit or vegetable and give you some every year. It's very nice. They also appreciate those kind of gifts a lot, I think. Family happiness isn't going to matter a ton for this run, but it matters a lot in multiplayer if you're trying to get the best equipment. Cool. I didn't get all the treasure chests in this level, but I got a lot of them. Enough to get all the artifacts, apparently. The Earth Pendant is the best thing in this slew that I can take. The Moogle Pocket is grayed out because I already have one. I'm still not tired of this, like, traveling theme. It's all throughout the game whenever you're on the world map. And I find it soothing. It's nice. So, this is a town. Kind of our first town in this run. Fuck, I love that music. And also because I got that Earth Pendant, I now have a permanent additional heart. Ah yes, the Alzheimer's going through the air. This crystal reflection is not working properly. It does on actual hardware. That I can promise. Every level and every town has a secret little space you can squeeze into. A Moogle house. These houses will give you stamps that, if you collect them all, I don't actually remember if something happens if you collect them all. I don't think they give you a proper incentive. But if you collect a set, you can play a minigame. The minigame is kinda poor, it's budget Mario Kart. Also, it's multiplayer only, and only on the Game Boy Advance. It's not very good. There's no incentive to do this in single player. However, at the Moogle home, the Moogle homes aren't completely useless in single player. You can do stuff with your Moogle. You can wash them, you can trim them, you can paint them. The trim helps for when you go into extremely hot areas like the desert or volcano. So otherwise, Mog won't be able to carry the chalice as long. But if you trim him up, he'll be cozy and carry the chalice long time. Oh yeah, you can also make him fall over. For, I don't know, when you need to paint his underside. For easy, eat your heart out, I guess. So, what the paint does is it actually, if you have Mog set the chalice down, and you cast a spell, he'll try and fuse with you. Not like, he becomes one with you, but he'll try and fuse spells with you. That spell combination thing I mentioned in multiplayer, that takes effect here. Unfortunately, he's not very smart. If he doesn't have any paint on him, he'll just cast whatever he feels like. Now, if you paint him green, he's going to cast Thunder. If you paint him red, he's going to cast a fire spell. Paint him blue, he'll cast Blizzard, I believe. I don't remember what the next area's boss is weak to. I don't think it's weak to anything, actually. So maybe I'll just go with Blizzard because I believe most of the mobs are weak to Blizzard. And so having a fusion that supports Blizzard will be very, very beneficial. I believe the percent painted on him is like the percent he'll try and fuse using that spell. Or maybe it just checks for the amount of paint, I don't know. And it didn't play a whole lot of solo of this game, I just played some until I realized, hey, you can't actually get the best equipment in solo. I am actually locked out of getting the best equipment just by playing solo. It's very tragic, but the game also isn't that hard. It's honestly pretty easy until you get to the third cycle. Which, to go ahead and explain that right now. Every level is repeatable. That's not to say that, like, ooh, lazy devs, because I think they did a pretty good job with each of the levels. Though I might be saying that nowadays if they tried to release something like this in today's age without anything new in it. That remake didn't look like it had much new stuff, but we'll see, we'll see. I'll reserve judgment and probably stream that thing day one. But yeah, it's just not really necessary for this. Though, I am curious now. I want to see if there's a ROM hack made for this yet. Because if there is one, that would be pretty neato. Aww. I'm only seeing one that changes PAL version from being PAL 50 to PAL 60. Which means better frame rates, which is good, but... These fuckos again? God. I am just a moving target for thieves. It's a good thing I don't care like shit for food right now. Yeah, no, I'm only seeing that 60 Hz patch. It'd be cool if there were some sort of difficulty patch. Something geared towards veterans to, kinda make this initial curve a bit steeper. It would be neat.
When the grandfather of my grandfather's grandfather was still a child, no one in this land could challenge the might of the Lilties.
Stutters.
They forged weapons of iron to bring the world under their dominion. But eventually, the mine was exhausted, and the Lilties' unstoppable conquest ground to a halt. The Lilties' ambition vanished along with the iron. They abandoned the mine, where monsters now thrive.
So, I found something on Slashdot, which is a news site I tend to read a bit, with, that just complained about the cable mess that this game created. Okay, so let me tell you something about this fucking level. You've got this minecart here. You need this minecart for later. If I just try and follow the tracks, I'll end up hitting this. Insurmountable by any means in the game. Well, you know, by anything I've been taught so far. Figuring that eventually, oh, I can just bash it down with the minecart, I tried going up to the minecart and hitting it. Just kind of going like... Yeah. This is the invulnerable visual effect. Of course, I kind of failed it there because I managed to hit it on the side that makes it go. I tried all sorts of things with the tools I was given, like magic, attacking, focus attacking, doing a whole lot of shit with Mog, the Chalice. I tried everything I could think of. I was stuck at that spot for 4 fucking hours. And I refused to look it up. It was disgusting. I imagine this spot might have floored a few other people as well. Or the beginning of this level, I should say. Once you're taught the whole minecart thing, the rest is pretty easy. Wow, no attack magic yet. That's no good. Yeah. Nothing I could do made sense to me. Up till I figured out I had to hit the cart forward. This just didn't seem like one of those games where such an interaction was meaningful. And then there are these track switches. I think they were made for more of an elaborate puzzle than we currently have, but this route leads out, as in like out of the mines or out of bounds or whatever, despawns the cart. We want it to go up, so you kind of have to pay attention to which way these tracks are aligned. Sort of interesting. Contributed to the fact that I was on this level for like 5 hours my first go. Blocking. That's great and all when I'm gonna attack from the front. I know better than that. Fuck you, boxes. So I might play through all this game. It's also actually pretty short compared to most Final Fantasy games if you go straight for the ending. I didn't my first, like, 2 times. Well, my first and my third time, I should say. The ending of the game is theoretically reachable through, like, I want to say doing a total of 10 levels? It can be pretty short if you know what to look for. Well, first attack magic, it's about damn time. Oh, and of course, I first reach an enemy that's immune to fire. Bombs have weird hitboxes that make them immune to attacks most of the time. It's awkward. There are a few enemies like this. There's a lot that modern game design can bring to this game. Don't know why I'm using focus attacks on enemies that can be dealt with fire, but I do me, I guess. Focus attacks are typically different depending on your weapon. We're not going to see that as Yuke because all Yuke focus attacks, all hammer focus attacks are the same, and Yukes can only use hammers. That's the race I am. The weird helmety, birdy, feathery thing. Clear Magicite is pretty hands down the most useless Magicite in this game. It doesn't combine into anything useful, I think, unless you combine it with like 3 or 4 other Magicites, which is going to be most of your command bar or most of your players in multiplayer. It's really bad. What it does as base is clears you of status conditions. That can be useful in multiplayer, but the rest of the spells are just more useful in general. The few niche spots where clear is useful are for primarily enemies that use petrification magic. For enemies that petrify your teammates. That can suck, especially when you're waiting on a spell fusion from them. So it can be good to have a player go support for those fights. Almost purely support, that is. And at this point, we no longer need the minecart. Bomb's casting Meteor and I can't do shit to him until he finishes. Ooh, Blizzard. Give me that shit. Let's not make gravity, because I don't think gravity actually works on bombs. Let's test that, actually. Because bombs take normal damage from physical attacks. I don't think they count as flying. No, they don't. What are these definitions? So the defendability of the Yuke is to just sort of go ethereal for a bit. Takes a little bit to activate. I don't actually know when the invulnerability starts. There are a few places that's useful in the game, but they're primarily in multiplayer, where you can be defending and have an ally like cast a spell from behind you or something. Or even just an enemy's focusing on you, and You don't want to take damage, but you've got allies to deal damage while you're doing it. You know, from a different direction or whatever. This game's pretty open about that stuff. I would like a duplicate of an attack magic. Game's not gonna let that happen yet. Maybe I should do some Mog spell fusion next time a tanky enemy comes around. Because that was a lot of casts. That could probably have been reduced to like 3 or 4. Will there ever be a point that me as a Uke just one-shots enemies? Probably, but not for a while. Me two-shotting them is the closest I'm going to get for a long time, I think. Also, pretty passé music. Very calming, largely unassuming. Second Blizzard. I can use that. I don't think anything in here is immune to Blizzard, so... I just have Blizzara. And, with the help of Mog. With the help of Mog! Oh, is he not gonna help me? Is it because I have a tier 2 spell? That's really lame if so. I shouldn't have grabbed that. Inventory space is also a big concern here. I do not have a ton of slots, even though it might seem like I have a ton of slots. I have a few slots. These don't clear out upon, you know, finishing a level. Only the Magicite does. Magicite fades at the end of a level. Get wrecked. So everything you don't need is basically inventory clog. Many things can be sold, but not necessarily for a lot of dosh. I could go Thundara. I'm a little more eager to pick up Magicite simply because of the solo combination thing. Again, if I'm playing multiplayer, I really should avoid getting duplicates of Magicite, but I'm not going to be playing multiplayer. There's no possibility for multiplayer Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles and Dolphin. Over netplay, anyway. I'd have to use something like Parsec, which I'm already streaming. Granted, I'd be streaming in 30 rather than 60, which is a smart thing to do in the first place because this game runs in 30, and I'm streaming in 60 at the moment. I'd basically be uploading 2 streams at once, which, contrary to some belief, is not what I do to be able to put my stream both on YouTube and Twitch. I use Restream.io. Which, it reminds us a lot. It slaps the link to my the link to Restream with a referral link to me in every stream I do. I can't turn that off. It sucks. I wish I could. Because it annoys me. I don't like shilling. And that's part of why I haven't gotten big yet. Oh, I missed a spot. His booty is not properly blue. This Moogle's going with a bare bottom. I mean, it's still hairy, but, you know. I like this guy's design, but his kit isn't very varied. He's got a staff axe thing and a hammer. Outside of casting that little explosion magic that also does defense down on you. Doesn't have a lot going for him. Let's see if I can get some spell fusion going here. What do you mean, thunder? Oh, it's blue thunder. We'll see if Mog decides to chime in again. If it's thunder, then blue is thunder. And officially makes no goddamn sense to me. Let's try hitting him with the edge of it. No, that was Blizzard he just tried to cast. Bruh. Does painting not do anything? Or is it only just like a gentle RNG push? Oh, I'm taking some decent damage. He did the spin to win. The spin to win does good damage. I didn't actually make equipment while I was in town, and I probably should have. There's a blacksmith in every town, but what that blacksmith can make will vary by location. So when this guy hits low health, he starts doing this sort of self-explodey thing. If left completely unattended, he will just combust. That didn't happen. You usually finish him off way too quickly. Because none of the ads have anything that can stun you, and they don't respawn fast enough to, like... They're not as much of a constant threat. They're not enough of a constant threat, I should say, to actually make them really worth going after a lot of the time. Now, if you got players that are not so good in your multiplayer squad, and you're in, like, third cycle of an area, that's to say, third visit after Myrrh comes back to the tree, which is essentially hard mode, you just don't need to deal with them. The self-destruct thing is kind of pointless, in my opinion. Damn, everything's getting through my noise gate. It's a little disappointing. Blue booty. I just poked Kesh to see if he was up for some Orcs Must Die 2 in a while. We've been playing that a little bit, here and there. Oh, I forgot to mention. I've got, or rather I'm preparing a Discord server for the stream. Well, more like I'm working on editing a previous one so that it's sort of federated. So that it does kind of everything I want it to do. Everything I do in one place. Yeah, you're right. Who's Ardane? Oh, it's probably my mom. Ardane is my mom. Oops, should have sent a gift. It's been like 3 months since the last letter. When you get 3 drops of myrrh in this game, the year is over. They've done 3 levels now. That's 3 drops of myrrh, and the year is done. Not gonna get too great here, because I skipped a lot of treasure chests. Never mind. Never fucking mind. It's all good. I've already gotten the heart pendant, so... I'm just down to stat artifacts here. Which, I pretty obviously want to go for either magic or defense. Strength isn't only useful until I get Magicite. as a Yuke. Oh, widescreen hack did not do this justice. Those people spawning. You're not supposed to see where they pop in. There's only one family in this village. In this festival, they all gather. So, it's a pretty lonely festival. They're gonna be pretty lonely festivals all around. We just got Moogles instead of families. It's a pretty cool festival, though. I dug a lot of the self-involvement in all this. They also read out your diary, your memories in this festival. I don't know if that's what the village elder is reading out. It looks like maybe? Or maybe it's just the rites that the spell or whatever that causes this to happen. And the crystal is restored for another year. The village will live on. I like that sort of constant, slight urgency this game has. Like, it gives you a sense of purpose that isn't... that is evergreen. It's an evergreen sense of purpose. But it's also kind of like your main objective. That's a lot of Moogles. And basically everybody dances here until they finish reading out your memories. This part is skippable. I'm not gonna yet, though. My corn! This world also seems really big. It's not all that big, but there's probably more of the world that could have been. In fact, there definitely is from a dev perspective, but like, you don't go through a lot of the world, not a lot of the globe in this game. Would have been real cool if there was something that expanded upon that. But that's just modern DLC thinking. Square Enix's recent drive to remake and remaster a lot of games put them on... well, they're basically ports. They're ports with a little extra, come on. It's pretty cool. There's some for Crystal Chronicles happening. I don't like the fact that it's like a port for mobile as well. That kind of bugs me a little bit. The previews of the Nintendo Switch version had a few frame rate issues that I noticed. I think they mentioned in that direct that it was running at 60. Maybe? It looked like it was running at 20 though. With like some upscaled models and supposedly new areas in each level. I don't know. I hope they deliver a lot with that. I would like for some new content in the old engine, you know? So normally I have the blacksmith family, which lives here. I'm used to just going over here to visit my family every year. They drop you in the city, or in the town. You can just walk around, explore, talk to people. Every year there is a hidden item. I just happen to know where it is for the first, like, I want to say 5 years? It's hidden up there. They change it up in later years, though. I'm snacking on some Doritos to make me feel like a gamer. Nah. Small quantities of Doritos are pretty delicious. What is with the diminishing returns we have on snacks? Oh yeah, there's actually like a shop GUI in single player that's not too shabby. It's a little shabby. Oh, so you never want to sell things to your families. Family discount applies to both what you buy and what you sell to them. But you do want to buy things from them. That said, I don't think I need anything from them. The magic stat operates completely independently of equipment in this game. Well, craftable equipment for the most part. Accessories are the only thing that can boost it. You can't get any weapons that boost magic attack. So, once you find a ring, which is basically a permanent magicite that lives in your artifacts slots, the hammer, upgrading the hammer or getting better hammers is pretty much useless. No reason to. You must return to Corona. So miasma streams, their element changes every year. It's fire this year. And there are 4 base elements to the crystal. Also, holy shit, the crystal isn't spinning. Or maybe it is? I can't tell. It's staying strictly in one place. I've never really noticed that element of the GUI before. But, for more information, there is water, wind, earth, and fire for miasma or chalice elements, which the chalice element also confers some sort of buff, but I don't remember what they are. They're pretty minor, as I recall. Actually, I'm gonna look it up real quick. See if the Final Fantasy wiki has anything for me. Oh! It's status effect immunity. Water is immunity to ice. Fire is immunity to being caught on fire. Wind is immunity to paralysis, and earth is immunity to poison and petrification. That's pretty cool. Well, that's good to know. We get in our introductions to the other caravans of the world. Every town or city has a caravan. We often mingle. Oh god. The top of the uke helmet flaps upward when I speak. That's actually a little bit horrifying. So there were a few sequels to this game. 2 were on the DS, and then there are 2 on the Wii we never speak of, but I'm speaking of them now. I'm gonna save here. First off, this game does not have autosave. Cause like, this is the point in which Dolphin bug reports report a crash. I should supposedly be safe, but I'd rather be safer than sorry. In order to get Fire Element, I have to go here. For the chalice, that is.
The threat of monsters weighs upon the mind of every traveler. Brave Lilties purged the roads of danger long ago. But monsters still lurk about, biding their time in the nooks and crannies of the world. Goblin Wall is one such place. As they say, wherever there is light, there is shadow. I wonder if we will ever be rid of their menace.
This is also my least favorite level in the game. It feels like a slog. Every time. But that's okay, it's actually relatively short. Right. The reason I don't have better armor now is because I didn't have access to a blacksmith because there's no blacksmith in town. Oof. Wait, why am I going into items? I have cure. I'll probably be fine, honestly. I don't expect, like, any complications here. Every time I think these goblins are weak to ice, but that's never the case. I'll take that fire. No. I don't want gravity. Fuck gravity. In this level, anyway. We just go zooping into the sky. Getting open treasure chest as your bonus here is pretty fabulous. I don't need to explain why. In case I do, there are a lot of treasure chests in this level. Goblin's Wall is a shitload of them. I want to say the number is like in the 40s, where in most levels it's maybe in the 10s? Oh, gravity is useful here. I'm sorry for bad-mathing you, gravity. I'm gonna get hit. Yeah, figured I would. I should take this life stone. Base life is only good for reviving teammates. But Holy can be made from it. Slow can also be made from it, but Holy allows you to damage ghosts, similar to the way that gravity allows you to damage flyers. Every attack, no matter what it is, while an enemy is either flying or all ethereal-y, does 1 damage. Where with my spells, I'm probably doing like 9 or 10 damage. So that's a significant factor of weakness. Also, I should split the shit out of these spells now. I hope I can find another pocket here. Mage life is pretty slow until you get a lot of pockets. Ah, the slow! Oh lord, what am I doing? Actually, this is fine. I can take this guy on. Oh, he's still not dead. This particular guy has a lot of health. Or he's just not as weak to fire as I thought. Mage life is pretty rockin'. Literally one smack after gravity offs the bat. But god, gravity sucks as an attack spell. No! Stop dodging! Alright, 2 thunders. Wait, no. That's one of each. Damn. I want a tier 2 attack spell. Cool failed spell. I don't think alternating spells is particularly useful against these enemies, but if they're not, like, heavily weak to something, all spells I believe do the same damage. Though, that enemy was heavily weak to fire, so I don't know, I'm eating my own words. Let's get another fire here. Wait, another blizzard, that's right. Yes. Wait, that had enough health? That survived one hit whilst under gravity? What is this shit? Also Pliss. With all the flying enemies. This is one annoying part of mage life. You gotta fuse and unfuse a lot. Where with virtually every other character, I would just be resorting to Fizz anywhere I'd be resorting to a tier 1 spell here. But Fizz characters also have drastically longer cast times. Like, it takes me about half a second to get that spell out as a Uke. It would take me probably almost 3 times as long on any other character. Any other race. Nothing too fabulous. Let's go with Blizzara. Get fucked. That just destroyed them. Tier 2 spells are so good. Got him. Now I'm gonna be spamming this a lot, but don't worry, it's fine. It's just my most powerful spell at the moment. Blizzara the Beefy. Another thing to note about tier 2 spells. Enemies that don't receive the status effect from Tier 1 will often receive the status effect in Tier 2. There aren't a lot of enemies where this isn't the case. Alright, so to go all the way up I need to go around to the left, it looks like. Which might not be possible from here. I might have to backtrack all the way out and go a different path. Likely to suck. I'd imagine Mog is gonna start complaining pretty soon. Still kinda surprised we haven't gotten a message about that today. So liquids. They've got kind of a weird thing going for them. Consuming them gives a stat boost. Otherwise they only heal 1 heart. Strange liquid gives magic. It doesn't show up here. But there's a little magic buff on me now that'll last a little while. It also heals 2 hearts for Ukes. I don't know why they made Strange Liquid a thing. I mean, it's good. It's a good buff. It's a secret buff, which is especially weird to me. Secret buffs are not a good thing in game design. They can add mystique, but it's just bad to have them in general. Especially when, you know, the thing in question just looks completely and utterly useless without it. You want to guide your players towards the good shit. There is value in having that good shit be on a less beaten path, but gotta be something leading them there. And there's gotta be something that, like, I don't know, if you're getting a substantial boost in a stat, you need to show that in some way. Players expect to have all the details about them that are important be visible. And whatever GUI they can access their stats from. You know, like the thing on the right on this screen. Magic now only shows as 18 after leaving the menu? Okay, never mind. I guess it's just an updating thing. I don't think the drink stat boosts show up on Game Boy Advance like at all, though. Wait, was that only showing a +1 boost? If that's the case, then fuck that. +2 is okay, I think. Man, I am nasally today. Oh, hi, boss. Guess we'll soon see if that save data corruption is a thing. Or if the game crashes. I think I'm gonna make a save state here. There we go. You! I've never met you, but I am pissed. It took a long time for these jokers to actually come after me. Come on, boys. Guess they had to wait to see me. Oh, loud. They got hit stun weapons. And they're actually desynced, so that's pretty brutal. Oh, I missed. I don't know why I had to take them both out at the same time, it felt necessary for some reason. I should heal up. This is one of those fights where shit can go real wrong. Especially if you get hit stun dudes like this. As ads. It's probably... This boss also teleports a lot. It's a big pain. It's a problem. Got him. Boss doesn't have a lot of health though, thankfully, but he does teleport a lot. Up is probably the worst position he could have done for this. Come on. So in Cycle 3, I think he has Thundaga, which, big damage, big range, and almost guaranteed stun. Haven't gotten hit with bad spell yet, I think. But it functions... Oh, there it is. I think Ukes also might suffer less duration from stuns, or maybe that's just single player. I recall Thunder Paralysis being like a second and a half a stun. But I was barely stunned for half a second. Good shit. So yeah, I kind of got lost in the moment. I'm revamping this one Discord server I'm sort of chief of that was designed for pretty much just server stuff, like game server stuff specifically. Ark or Minecraft, it's traditionally been those. It sort of evolved into a little bit of a community hub with a community that's pretty much never talk to each other. So I'm going to repurpose it and also include stream stuff in it as well as game dev stuff in it. God, that spot I missed is so blatant. So if this whole dolphin save corruption thing is an insurmountable bug, this will be where the run ends. Will be a big shame. Ah, my flower! How could you? $19 pennies for your thoughts. Nobody likes me. Well, I've been skirting a lot of that. but apparently I have 98 points worth. Opening chests and getting kills, I know, advances your score a little bit, regardless of what you have as your bonus. No crash. Holy shit. Beautiful. No discipline. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to include my face. But instead it's just pack animal. And, you know, most of me. Regardless, I think that's gonna be it for this stream, actually. I expected shit to go down. Bad things to happen. Turns out, everything's fine. It's okay. Got an hour and a half or so of this game in, and feeling good about that. Probably will return to this later, though as a game, just sort of when I'm considering what to stream, it doesn't have a whole lot of strict appeal for me. Maybe this will change in the future, but it hasn't yet. This game takes a while to take off, and due to the fact that I think this is like my 5th playthrough of the game. And my first one had like, I want to say 160 hours on it. And this game can be easily completed in like 7 hours. Mind. Yeah, I've had a lot of exposure. It's a pleasant experience, but it's never like a thrilling or exciting one, or seldom a thrilling or exciting one, I should say. Because I've seen almost everything. It's just the way it is. But, yeah. That's Crystal Chronicles for now, and thanks for watching. Maybe I'll see you next time.